Welcome to the Ultimate St. Louis Sports Show. I am Corey Miller here with Frank Cusimano and Andy Moeller joining you once again. And, of course, we're going to start talking Cardinals. They're heading to the other side of the state to face the Kansas City Royals in a three-game series which does not have a Saturday game in it because of the World Cup. I can't remember a time during in-season when the Cardinals have not played on a Saturday. It's just very strange.
Very odd.
Yeah, it's unusual. I think it's happened in the recent past or whatever, but obviously, yeah, they don't want to, they've got the World Cup kind of getting in the way.
Yes.
So that's why they started the series on Thursday.
They've already had what it seems like a ton of issues, parking and just transportation related anyways to get people there. So I can't imagine having both, because, Arrowhead and Kauffman shared the same parking lot. I can't imagine them trying to do two at once. So I guess you got to do what you got to do.
And here I am, trumpeting, what a great complex there is there because of all that parking and tailgate and stuff. And I'm being proven wrong. FIFA has done it again.
Well, you like that?
I think it's a great place to tailgate.
It's one of the best in the NFL.
It is, and it just seems like everything is right there.
But I don't know. It's got no charm. It's out in the middle of nowhere. You've got like a Taco Bell and a hotel that you can kind of see there. I don't know.
Well, location-wise, I could give you that, but the actual tailgating experience,
and the
game experience there is as good as I think any NFL site.
I went there. The Chiefs were on Sunday Night Football like 2 or 3 years ago, and I went and did like a pregame. How great is the tailgating and just kind of flare. It was really cool. And of course, Mahomes led like a last-second drive to beat the Titans. So it was. I was glad I went. But the Cardinals will be there taking on the Royals this weekend. They made some news today when we were recording this. The previous episode, Frank and I talked about we don't think we'll see Chris Roycroft anymore, and we were proven right pretty quickly because Max Ragic has been called up to join the Cardinals bullpen out of UCLA. Been in the organization a little while. I remember interviewing him at spring training like 3 years ago now, and finally he gets to come up, and I think you just keep trying guys in the bullpen, see who sticks.
Yeah, it's like a perfect storm, like with Gorman and Blaze Jordan. If you have one guy in the big leagues who's not doing anything, and you have a guy at playing his position who's doing everything, you got to make the move. And it's just right with Roycroft, poor guy. I mean, I really liked him. He threw hard, but he just wasn't effective. And, Max has done a really good job. They got another pitcher down there who's really good too. So we got some options.
Yeah, the thing about, Roycroft, he seems like an earnest fellow. And they were really, kind of heralding, the fact that, he developed a couple of pitches or whatever, and that he was doing much better down in AAA and came up here, and I didn't see it.
Yeah.
It all goes to show it doesn't matter how hard you throw. You got to throw strikes. You got to have like 4 or 5 different pitches. I mean, look at the Italian stallion, Andre Palante. You know what? One of the reasons
we made it almost 3 minutes.
Yeah. One of the reasons he is really effective is he's throwing his fastball, his four-seamer, significantly less, and he's got that knuckle curve, which he added, and he's throwing his breaking pitches over for strikes. And it's not about speed.
Well, I think this is the year, too. Like, some guys you give a longer leash than other guys, but just try guys. Why not? See who you got, see who you want to move forward with. So one move for the Cardinals as they head into this Royals series. Just looking at the schedule, the Cardinals should make some headway, I think, at the end of June. Because if you look ahead to July, really tough schedule coming up. So you're playing these teams like the Royals who are 15 games under 500. You got to win these series.
Yeah, that's what we said last weekend in Minnesota. It didn't work out.
Yeah.
But you're right. They have to win this.
Yeah, let me pull up who they got coming up here. It's like the Braves and the Diamondbacks and the Cubs and a lot of teams near the top of their division. So the Royals, Frank and I talked about this the other day, have a lot of people, dark horse playoff team coming into the year, and they've been terrible. Kansas City fans, I bet, have already checked out and are looking forward to football season, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it's starting to look that way. I think Miami is like the only series in this, cluster of really good teams or whatever that they need to make sure that that's a series that they win. You got to beat the teams that you are expected to beat.
Matthew Liberatore starts this first game of the series. What do you think about him so far?
Well, he's been the most disappointing starter if you factor in expectations and you factor in the fact, that's a lot of facts. You factor in that he was the number one starter at the beginning of the season. He got the ball on opening day. So I don't know. I wonder just how serious the conversations are about Quinn Matthews coming up here, about if they go to a 5-man rotation, is he out or is Leahy out, who pitched well on Wednesday? And then you have, Hunter Dobbins, who's looked pretty good too. So
Andy, Frank and I talked this point to death yesterday, but we've got a new guy in here.
So now I can talk it to death.
Matthews and Baez, how much are you okay with them, waiting around and seeing what happens, or are you one of these people online clamoring, we got to have him right now?
Well, I'm not storming the gates with, with what is it, torches and pitchforks or anything like that. But, Baez is not only knocking on the door, he's about ready to kick it in. I mean, granted, there is a quantum leap in pitching from AAA to the major leagues. So I can see why they don't want to have his confidence, take a severe shot if he comes up here and starts striking out a lot. But boy, is he fun to watch down in AAA.
And if you are striking out a lot down there, you're probably going to strike out more up here. I mean, I would still bet the house that Joshua Baez has toasted ravioli in St. Louis this year. The only question is whether it's August, when or if they trade Nootbaar, or if it's September and a call.
I think I saw that Baez is saying all the right things. I think he said something about that he wants to be down in Memphis because they're pushing for a playoff spot.
Oh,
he wants
good.
to be.
That's what you want to hear?
Yeah, he wants to be a part of it. But I don't know if that's.
So he doesn't want to make the major league minimum and 5-star hotels and charter flights. He wants
He's
to
saying
win
what
that.
he needs.
He's saying what he needs to
Yeah.
say. Yes.
A lot of talk online. We're about to get into. It's only going to get worse as we get closer to the trade deadline. But people come up with their own mock trades and whatnot. And Byron Buxton is a name that
is so ridiculous.
Have you seen all that? There's a lot of Cardinals fans have
Oh my
kind of
gosh.
conjured this out of nowhere. Baez for Buxton, and it would take more than Baez, I think, to get Buxton. But
yes.
Still, you can't change the game plan like this.
No.
You can't give up a 22-year-old like this. I mean,
Buxton's 32. He's got a severe injury history.
oh my goodness, yeah.
Great player. He's a great player.
Yeah, he was the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, when he's
right?
healthy, he's really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But with the formation of this organization right now, that would be the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. I can't believe that's even become a thing.
Listen,
I heard it on talk radio too.
Really?
Yeah.
It's still early. We're going to get a lot more of those, I think, as we head towards the trade deadline. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back. Welcome back to the Ultimate St. Louis Sports Show. We're going to talk some Blues hockey heading into the summer. Going to be an interesting offseason for the Blues. They've already made some changes. Their assistant coaching staff under Monty, and now we're going to have a change of the guard from Doug Armstrong to Alexander Steen. But Army's going to handle one last draft, it seems like, and it's going to be a very impactful draft, or at least it could be with the number of picks they have. Frank, what are you most looking forward to as we head into the offseason?
Well, first of all, at Armstrong, it's not like a John Mozeliak situation where he's just going to go overseas and go on vacation. I mean, he's still going to be the president of hockey operations, and Alexander Steen and he have such a great relationship. I mean, Army's still going to be involved. Andy Strickland reported the other day on my show, he goes, there's not a chance that they're trading Robert Thomas. That's not happening. But I do think there's a real chance they trade Jordan Kyrou. And people would think, wait a minute, do you really want to trade a stock when it's at rock bottom, when he has a disappointing goal season? But, he's had all these 30-goal seasons. I think you can probably get something for him. And if you're going to make a move, that's probably the most likely one.
Feel like we're talking in circles about him all the time, but it seems like there's just too much smoke there. There's got to be some kind of fire around Kyrou.
Yeah, I think so. And I don't know, for as much talent as he has, it just seems like that he'll get on a little spurt and, everybody's going to start to get excited, and then he disappears for a couple of weeks. So I think maybe a change of scenery is the best.
It'd be good for both parties involved.
Yeah, I think so too.
What are the odds right now Jordan Binnington is a St. Louis Blue on opening night, do you think?
I'd say it's 70-30.
Really?
Yeah. I think that he's willing to accept at least Like they'll tell him you're going to battle for the number one spot, but I think they believe it's Joel Hofer's. But I think he really loves this town, and I think he would be happy in a 1-1A situation. Maybe not thrilled, but yeah. And you look at the contending teams who need a goaltender. I'm not sure if there's that many out there, and if he's an upgrade to the ones that already have a goaltender. So I guess yes.
They seem to have a good relationship.
Yeah.
And that's always important too. You don't want, of course you want, your number two guy to believe that he can be the number one, but there's no, contentious relationship or anything like that as to try to do it. And I think there are people that think Hofer is the real deal. So
is this just a move or two away from being what we thought it could be last year? I mean, at this time last year, there was all this hope and promise coming off that run, and we saw how that went. And
ask me in November.
Now we're kind of sitting in the same way. It seems like I don't know. You just can't you can't really grab onto it, and you don't know what it's going to be yet. Is how I feel.
Yeah, I don't think the beginning can get any worse. So if they solve the training camp thing and get off to a reasonable start, then I think they're going to be okay. But when you look at Colorado and you look at Vegas, I mean, they're not as good as the top teams in the West.
Yeah.
No, absolutely not. Which is why a big start is all the more important. If you're going to try to stay within, see the teams up ahead of you in the distance. You don't want it to be a great distance where they're so far behind.
Yeah. What are the odds that like Hofer and Binnington get lit up like a Christmas tree next season, like they did the start of last season?
You've got something coming into this year that you didn't have last year. You've got that top line completely figured out with Holloway, Thomas, and Snuggerud. I mean, that could be one of the best top lines we've seen here in a long time, I think. We just got a glimpse last year, and it was the best in the league for when they were together. A whole season of them should have everybody excited, I think.
Oh, excited is one thing, but, we just can't get off to a slow start. I hate to keep belaboring the point, but I think Monty's got to have them ready to, take off at the starting line as opposed to having a hiccup or two or three or four.
And you think about it too, is so many guys played about as low of expectations as you possibly could imagine. Like Jake Neighbors, God bless him, he's gonna be better.
Yeah.
And if they keep Kyrou, he's not gonna score under 20 goals, or I don't know what he ended up with, but yeah, he ended up with under 20.
How much of the season did they have last year with Justin Falk as like being their leading goal?
Oh yeah. That's never.
You can't have that happen.
That's never a good sign. Well, I'll tell you what, that can't happen this year because he's not on the team anymore.
That's right.
So there's that. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come right back. Welcome back to the Ultimate St. Louis Sports Show. Let's talk some golf. You're going to be watching quite a bit of it on Channel 5 this weekend. We got the U.S. Open all weekend long. You don't even get to watch newscasts. You get to watch golf instead. Lucky you. It's just off. We're recording this on Thursday, so we can't really talk about the horse race too much in terms of who's first and whatnot. But I think it was from friend of the station, Trey Wingo. I was just talking with Andy about this. Only like 3 people who have ever won the U.S. Open when played at Shinnecock Hills have shot under par. So wow. This is one of the we already talked about the U.S. Open being the hardest of the majors, but at this place, and if the wind is like it is what I just saw, I mean, good luck scoring out there. Right now, as we're recording this halfway through Thursday, the leader was like 2 under, I think.
Yeah, and one of those leaders is Bryson DeChambeau, who, if he has a major that he plays well in, this is the one. That would be great theater if he's in the hunt, on Sunday.
Yeah, the key point I've taken from watching the early part is just how difficult it is to hit your approach on the green. Yeah. I think Jack Nicklaus had a saying something about it's like trying to hit a one iron and have it land on the hood of a Cadillac.
And the whole concept, by the way, of 1 iron, 2 iron, even 3 iron. Who hits those?
You don't have those in your bag?
Oh my gosh! Like it was Tom Watson. He warms up the first 15 balls he hits are with a 4 iron. I mean, gosh, I want to develop a little confidence with a real soft wedge.
Was it Lee Trevino who has the quote of
about God?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was golfing in the rain or whatever, and you can't be out there with that 1 iron or 2. Not even God can hit it. Can hit a 1 iron.
Yeah. Like Ozzie Smith, who's a very good golfer, he does not. I think he has an actual 8 iron. That's the biggest club he's got iron wise, and the rest are all, those little.
Hybrids.
Wedges and
hybrids. Yeah,
my dad has
hybrid 7 through.
My dad has those too,
Yeah.
and he loves them. After a certain time when you don't hit it as far anymore.
I don't even want to hit like a 5 iron sometimes.
I heard Rory McIlroy was interviewed after his opening round, and he was talking about, I don't remember what hole it was that he was hitting his approach to, but said, 194 with a pitching wedge. Pitching wedge? Oh my God! I've never been.
Jeez.
I could hit the pitching wedge 3 times and have the same success.
And then his speed on one of his drivers was like 180 miles an hour. He was generating that.
But has he been better at? Because he was like the worst at hitting the greens. He won the Masters and hit fairway, not greens. He was like the worst in the tournament at hitting the fairways and still ended up winning. So hopefully he was near the top of the leaderboard that we just saw. So it'll be fun to watch that battle play out all weekend long.
All right, let's talk about this Mizzou video that just popped up on social media. You and I both saw it. Describe it.
Jason Crow going to his left, the Tigers' 5-star freshman, and dunking over the tallest player on the team in Trent Burns, one of the tallest players in the country. I've sent that to multiple group chats. It's hard not to get excited about it right now.
He is sifting in and out rush hour traffic, in and out. Oh, my gosh. And I got to tell you something. When I saw that, I was, as a Billiken fan, I thought, oh, my God, maybe we won't win.
But listen, every Mizzou fan is equal parts excited and just terrified because it's Mizzou and something always goes wrong. And so try not to think like that. But, after this many years.
Wouldn't that be wild if it doesn't? Unless he's hurt, he's going to be so special.
Yeah.
He's definitely fun to watch,
I was talking to my Billiken group the other day, guys that go to practice a little bit more often. And they were talking about that Alone McKaylee, who's the transfer from Colorado. And just at 6'9", that he puts in the same hours that like Gibson Jimerson does. He's like a shootaholic.
Really?
Yeah, and his stroke is really, really good. So that is going to be a whole lot of fun when that happens.
We'll take one more break and come back and wrap it up. All right, welcome back for one last block here. We're going to look ahead a little bit. Summer's coming around. We're starting to think about the rest of the year. We got some big events coming up in St. Louis. Let's go around the table. What's everybody most excited for in St. Louis that we might be able to experience this year, sports-wise?
I think I'm looking forward to the BMW Championship. It'll be great to have all the top golfers in the world here, and it's the penultimate championship. The following tournament is the Tour Championship. So there'll be a lot of competition for to get into that final group. So I think it's going to be great.
Frank, have you already taken off the weekend of SLU Mizzou?
What day of the week is that on?
It's a Friday. So that's a Friday. The very next day is an 11 a.m. Mizzou, Texas game.
Wow. Yeah, I put a Cardinal playoff game with, let's just say it's Dustin May on the mound in a great matchup with Mizorowski at game 1. Oh, that'd be unbelievable. But I probably would go Mizzou, SLU, and the other two would be tied for first, the Golf and the Cardinals.
We got a NASCAR race coming up too. That should be fun. A playoff race. I always love the NASCAR races out there, but I just hope this Cardinals train keeps on as long as it can go. I don't want to get greedy because we weren't supposed to have any of this at all. So I'm already thankful that it's been more interesting than I thought we were going to get. But if they can I think if the season ended today, they would host the Phillies again in a wild card game. That's the last playoff games we saw here, which didn't go so well. But like the last happy postseason moment was Juan Yepes hitting that home run to put them up late against the Phillies, and him and Albert going crazy, the stadium rocking, and I think, here we go, and then they blow it, and we haven't had anything good to write home about since.
Yeah, I can barely remember Juan Yepes.
I know. He was like here's the next first baseman. Albert's going to leave, and this guy, and he's hitting postseason home runs. Yeah, it's been a while. So if they can somehow keep this up, and the city, you can feel the extra juice around it and whatnot, I think it would be a
wouldn't that
moment.
Be an unbelievable October? Gosh,
I'm trying not to get too greedy and think that it's going to happen. So I'm tempering my enthusiasm just a little bit. But there is nothing like playoff baseball in St. Louis,
especially for fans that haven't had it in a while. All right, that's our show for today and this week. We'll see you next week.